Welcome into Titans Today. Tom Downey here as we break down some minicamp winners and losers as Tennessee kind of wraps that up today here. First winner, and this is kind of based on a bunch of different comments made by multiple players, just the vibes in general. They're pretty good right now. Positive comments made from offense and defense about Brian Callahan taking over. That does seem like a low bar. The alternative is the vibes are bad and this is going to be a dumpster fire. So I think that's a win as far as I'm concerned. Do you like the direction the Titans are heading? And I think they'll be a much better football team this year. If you do, type me in the comment section right now. We'll stay positive here on Will Levis, the quarterback, the franchise quarterback for Tennessee. Putting him on here does not mean his play has been perfect at minicamp, at OTAs, etc. It has not been. I think there has been enough promise to have hope and hopium and belief in him as the franchise quarterback. This is, and I want to emphasize this, will be a process. This is not going to be an overnight thing where, Brian Callahan's here, boom, Will Levis, top 10 quarterback. That's not how it works. Jim Wyatt of Titans Online documenting that Levis was 6 of 10, 2 drops on Tuesday, and 3 of 8 on Wednesday. There was one that he overshot and it went in the lake, which is more fun than anything because the lake's kind of close. I want to emphasize this as well. Progression isn't actually linear. You don't actually get better. Everyone says 1% per day. You might be. Doesn't mean the results are 1% better each day. Some days it might be plus 5%. Some days it might be minus 2%. The micro isn't one-to-one. It's not actually a perfectly straight arrow. The macro, when you look bigger picture month by month, week by week, year by year, that's when you see that upward growth. Look at it from a overall perspective, you see that. And I think we'll get that from Will Levis this season. There were flashes last year, a bunch of really nice deep balls, the arm strength, the mobility. He's adjusting some technique work stuff as well. So I think there is reason to have some confidence in Will Levis. Also reason to not assume it's a guarantee, but you hired Brian Callahan, and you built this offensive line, some more impact there, and you've added players to the wide receiving core to give Levis a chance and see if he's your guy or not, and then you can adjust. And I think there's enough confidence to put him out there for a year and see how it goes. So what is your confidence level in Will Levis as the quarterback? Scale it for me from 1 to 10 in the comments section. The minicamp winners here. I'm going to go with Saahdiq Charles, who has been kind of coy, like, you're the right guard. You getting some reps to one there. I was at right guard today. Sometimes I'm getting the first team reps. I think there's a chance Charles ends up being this team's starting right guard week 1. Now, this is going to be a competition. Dylan Radins is involved there. Daniel Brunskill is involved there. But Charles has talent. Is a former relatively highly touted recruit and college player. The results weren't perfect last year. I'd also say you have to consider that sometimes the hurries are on the quarterback. Sam Howell held the ball forever. That man created his own pressure. So I wouldn't panic too much about a fairly high hurry number from that perspective. Now, when it comes to the offensive line, asterisk this across the board at right guard and right tackle, because Dylan Radins is also getting work at right guard, and Jalen Duncan is going to get some work at right tackle along with Nicholas Petit-Friere. We'll talk about John Ajoku here in a minute. But it look like the left side is stable, so like the backups are kind of extra weighted to the right side, so I wouldn't, don't screenshot this and say, Tom, you're talking about, Dylan Radins is a right guard competition. Why is he at right tackle? I'm balancing the numbers so it doesn't look super weird. That's all I'm saying. So the right guard spot, Charles Brunskill, I think Radins involved there. That probably won't be decided until deep into training camp / the preseason. Let's talk about the de facto right tackle 1 right now for Tennessee because Nicholas Petit-Friere and Jalen Duncan aren't out there. It's John Ajoku, the former Boise State offensive tackle. I just called him J.O. because it was a tricky name for me to say. Coming out of Boise State. He has been getting reps with the ones because there's nobody else out there. Nicholas Petit-Friere has not been practicing. Radins has been getting some work at right guard. I think some other spots too, by the way. Jalen Duncan has not been practicing as well. But head coach Brian Callahan's giving him some praise. He's doing everything that you would want a player in that spot to do. He takes it very seriously. He's outstanding in the meeting room. He's taken the scheme. He's learned it. I've been really surprised. He's a guy I didn't know much about. As he's gotten more opportunities, he started to show up. And when you're a guy in that position, that's all you can ask for. And so he keeps stacking good days together. And so again, we'll see when we get to training camp what that looks like. But he's done everything you could possibly do with that opportunity that he's been given, and that's always good to see. Now, he was undrafted out of Boise State. I actually had a draftable grade on him in his class. He was my 221 overall player that year, my 18th ranked offensive tackle, and I had a 6th round grade on him. I am somewhat intrigued by him. I was glad he's on the roster. I think he could maybe not be a starter, but he could maybe carve out a little swing tackle role for you as you move forward. Now, speaking of the offensive line, you can get a J.C. Latham jersey, the official 55 jersey for your left tackle, over at chatsports.com/Latham. Link will be in the comments section and the description of today's show. Next up on the minicamp winners, how about linebacker Jack Gibbons? Sounds like he's going to have the green dot, by the way. He did pick off Will Levis in practice, which is, weird note. You kind of don't want the offense or the defense to win all of the reps. Maybe you want the young quarterback to win more, but you do want some back and forth there. Otherwise, it means the other side, I think, is just straight up bad. Gibbons, 95 tackles, 1 sack, 3 TFLs, 3 pass breakups. It was impactful last year. He's gotten some praise from some of the others around him as well. The linebacking room in general, I'm kind of intrigued by the more this goes along. So I think both rookie linebackers, if we're counting James Williams in that category, have shown some nice things. Williams was the Miami Hurricanes safety turned linebacker. Cedric Ray was the earlier draft pick at a UNC. You got some depth here in a way maybe you didn't previously. Kenneth Murray's been a little bit nicked up as well, as he's going to be kind of more of a weak side linebacker. I think Gibbons will be your Mike. I think Cedric Ray could maybe get some middle linebacker run too. I mentioned this earlier. I see the vision. You got some athletic guys, Gray and Murray and Williams. Keep them clean with your big boys, Sweat and Simmons, and have some success up front and keep them clean. Linebackers making plays, I think matters, especially when you're not paying them really anything. Name a Titans minicamp winner for me. Let me know in the comment section of today's show. I'll throw my boy Roger McCreary in here as well. He had a very good day Tuesday per Jim Wyatt. Broke up a deep pass hence for Nick Westbrook-Akina. I like McCreary. He's got inside-outside flex. I think the L'Jarius Sneed and McCreary plus Awuzie as your other vet presence. It's a good cornerback room in Tennessee. We do have losers, because in life there are losers. And I'll put the people who aren't 100% practicing on here. So that's Jeffrey Simmons, minor injury. He's fine. It's Jeffrey friggin' Simmons. I'm not worried there. Devondre Sweat could be back next week. Remember, Tennessee's doing it kind of weird, where it's like OTAs, minicamp OTAs. So it's kind of get like the early run with the way you're set up with the first-year coach. It's fine. I hope he's back next week. I think that'll be a good thing, because I think young guys need reps. Both Nicholas Petit-Frere and Jalen Duncan not practicing. Get them out there. I want them to fight for the right tackle spot. They're young. They need talent there. L'Jarius Sneed's been doing various parts of it over the last 2 days, so I think he'll do more and more. I think it's more like, hey, keep him fresh the way you need to keep him fresh. I think Tennessee has a good plan there. Plus, you paid him a lot of money. You better make sure he's healthy. So name a Titans minicamp loser for me. I think I know some names we'll get to here in a second, but drop that player name or player names in the comments. Treylon Burks is next up here. And on one hand, I think we kind of knew this, right? He's going to have to help on special teams. Head coach Brian Callahan not lying to anybody, being quite maybe even too much up front, saying, hey, he's got to help on special teams to make this roster. Quote, he's going to have to contribute. You only get so many hats on game day. And if he's one of those guys on game day, we're going to have to find a place for him. Guys like him should be great special teams players on top of it just because of his size and speed. And so the gunner thing is something I think he's very capable of doing. There might be some more roles for him in other phases as well. Anytime you're not a full-time starter, you're going to have to contribute somewhere on game day. I think Trey's attitude and approach has been fantastic, and so I'm excited to see what he can do for them. I think he's an asset on special teams. Look, didn't we kind of know this? The second Tyler Boyd signed, when you have Calvin Ridley, You have DeAndre Hopkins deployed, guys who do not play on special teams, and when they can't start for you, they're going to be out of the league because they can't do that. Your receiver 4, 5, and 6, if they make the roster, have to help on special teams. Especially with the new kickoff rules, kind of need guys out there to help there. You can't have your number 4 receiver be a backup who doesn't help on special teams. So the real loser angle of this here is your first round pick is a special teamer. That's not what you want. You drafted Treylon Burks and put it was a bad trade. Call it what it was. It was bad. Never should have done it. Should have not traded Burks for A.J. Brown, basically, and then you had to spend big money on Calvin Ridley. You should just pay A.J. Brown. We know that. But your first rounder isn't supposed to be like a key special teamer. That's not... It's just very, very strange to me. And it happens. It's unfortunate. And unless Burks can get things figured out, we know the path he's headed on. So will he go down, in just the NFL, maybe he fixes it somewhere else and you can be positive there. Will he go down as a bust? Y for yes, N for no. So minicamp losers on Caleb Farley here. Oh, this is the exact same thing as Treylon Burks. I mean, you straight up had, Brian Callahan say, yeah, he's got to help on special teams too. The Burks stuff also goes for Farley. Now, injuries have been a big factor on that front, but it's unfortunate. And maybe Farley, with the way you rotate corners more, can actually be a key contributor on teams and make an impact down the line. But I think it's pretty clear Tennessee is not counting on huge impact from either of those players in 2024. If you haven't already, hit that sub button for more Titans updates. Got you covered here, even as we get into a bit of a dead period before training camp gets going.